Welcome back. Now, as Nigeria prepares for general elections next year, the country's election regulator, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has recorded an unprecedented rise in attacks on its offices across the country in recent weeks. The offices house both sensitive and non-sensitive electoral materials for the election. The electoral umpire has also accused some politicians of attempting now to manufacture the bimodal voter accreditation system machine, that's BVAS, and hack into the commission's server as a way to circumvent the election in their favor. These allegations gives an interesting twist to the arguments against the BVAS machine, which has been highly criticized by some politicians. But the chairman of the electoral umpire, Mahmoud Yakubu, continues to insist that the BVAS will be used in the 2023 elections. Let's discuss these issues further, and now being joined on the program by Omoru Aigbe, who is a development and election analyst. Mr. Aigbe, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let's start with these attacks that we have seen on INEC offices across the country, and some of these offices, of course, containing sensitive and non-sensitive materials, even though INEC has sought to play down on the incident, so to speak, saying that it's not going to affect the election. What do you make of it? How concerned should Nigerians be about these attacks?
Like I've said somewhere before, that it's all about distraction. It's just distraction, and it's basically distraction. And to put records straight, sensitive materials have not been burnt unless you want to classify the PVC as sensitive materials.
Of course they are.
Sensitive materials including ballots and all these very sensitive. The majority of materials, INEC materials that have been bought are usually the non-sensitive materials. Those are office equipment, office furniture, the cubicle that can be gotten almost immediately. You can go to the market or you create the cubicle almost now, but it's difficult to recreate the BVAS. No BVAS has been burnt in any of the incidents, and aside PVC in certain locations, particularly in I think in the one incident happened in Ogun and in Imo, where we have a couple of PVC that have been were involved in those attacks. But also to put it on record that INEC is working ahead to identify those PVCs and try to reproduce them because they can't be easily reproduced. And that's why INEC is saying that it will not alter the election. And even though the register gets burnt today, the register is online. So the new electoral act mandates INEC to paste the register, the national register of voters online. So that's why you can easily check your name and check those, whether it's underage voters that we continue to see on social media. Those are grabs from INEC online voter register information. So to put it in a way that make it more simple, yes, there are attacks on INEC offices. I still believe it's a way to send a strong message. When the attack in Ogun happened, I spoke to some folks and I said to them, what happened in Ogun is a distraction. Where they are headed is different. And by what we now see in eastern part is more like validating our permutation. That is a distraction in Ogun, and of course in Oshun. They're actually headed to a place where they are consistently, people are consistently, some non-state actors, armed groups are going to say that there will not be an election in this part of the country.
Now, for you, I mean, and it's so good that you brought up the issue of the southeast of the country, where we've had quite a number of attacks, and there are fears that we're going to see more attacks in the coming weeks, because and months, if you like, because this non-state actors or these armed groups that you refer to have continued to insist that there would not be elections in that part of the country. Now, when you continue to have these attacks, don't you think it might affect, the turnout of voters, for instance, in that part of the country on election day?
Yes, I mean it's true. It's truly a concern, But you also saw what happened in Imo, in Owerri, the capital of Imo, where the police actually launched a very counterforce that led to the killing and, of course, arrest of some of those armed groups. And that was a strong lesson. I think that if the police can continue to apply intelligence they will nip this issue on the bud. And you also remember in Anambra election, there was a huge conversation that the election was not going to hold. And in fact, the election went on and ahead, and there's a governor serving in that state. I think what the non-state actors should understand, that whether they like it or not, if they continue to fight the state, they will continue to have elections that turn all people who they may not like. And they'll continue to fight the system. Why don't you combat
And they're not
energy?
going to win this fight.
Exactly. I mean, it's a silo. I mean, it's more like you are, even within the Southeast, there are people who don't like what is happening. And it is not like a 90% or a 70% support to the group. Or because again, that is not the main group. If you know, we've read releases from IPOP. In fact, there's a latest report, even though I've not done fact check, but I believe it may be true, that the IPOP leader's lawyer, Ejiofor, has gone ahead to file a suit against Sam Appa, who threatened the sit-at-home in those states for a period beginning like, was it last week, the 12th, 13th, 14th, or something like that? And he has filed a suit to try to justify that the IPOP leader has no business. I mean, that's a very strong message being sent, and I think it is important that those kind of things get amplified for people to know that it is not the IPOP group led by Nnamdi Kanu that is actually perpetuating these ills. There is a counter force who try to undermine these processes, and I think it's important that those continue and people get. There need to be an uprising from the people, from the local people, to say no to this kind of atrocities. It's not helping the Southeast at all. It's killing the Southeast economy, killing the Southeast political environment, killing a lot of things that's happening in the Southeast. Nobody wants to go invest in the Southeast anymore, and that has implication for financial stability of the region.
It's really a worry what is happening in the Southeast, and there's no question at all that if this continues and it escalates, elections will be very difficult in that part of the country. Let's turn our attention now to the allegation made by INEC that some people are trying to compromise the BVAS machine and then hack into its server and all of that. I'm just wondering, does that send a positive message at all?
So I'm not too sure of the report you are quoting. It's not possible to hack the BVAS. It's not possible to hack the BVAS. You can create a resemblance of the BVAS, but you have
hack
to send
their
it to
server,
the feed.
so to speak.
So they can hack their server, so that we try to put this in perspective.
It's their server,
so
not the BVAS. To hack their server.
Very good. The server. So INEC chair did talk about that after the Ekiti and Osun election, that there were attempts made on their server, but they ward them off and they were not able to have access to it. So I think what will happen in the election is that the money bag.
Yeah, go on.
We do everything within their power to hack the IRF portal. Maybe take down INEC website and make sure that citizens don't have access to the IRF portal.
And let me just quickly add, what I actually read in my intro is INEC, apart from, alleging that some politicians or people are trying to hack its server, it says some politicians to maybe trying to manufacture their own BVAS machine.
Exactly. So we just call exactly. You are right now. So there may be the possibility of manufacturing their own BVAS, but except they have to work with INEC officials to feed those BVAS into the system, which I'm not too sure will be easy. Again, each of those BVAS devices had some very strong link. There are metadata in each of them that synchronizes with the IRF portal. So if a politician creates any BVAS, it's not going to be able to synchronize with INEC server because it can't read it. It can't read it.
Now, this is a question I want to ask you. When INEC says things like this, that some people are trying to manufacture their own BVAS and some people are trying to hack into their server, does it send a positive message? First of all, we don't know how concrete the evidence INEC has. How concrete that evidence is. And if INEC is saying this and has not got very, very solid concrete evidence, is it not sending a negative message out there and cause doubts now about this BVAS machine, especially when you consider the controversy that has trailed the BVAS machine? Should INEC be saying this?
That's exactly why I began by asking the question, but I don't know the report, because I know that INEC has said that politicians are buying up PVCs. If INEC made that comment, if INEC did make that comment, I think it's a strong conversation we need to have. INEC cannot tell us that the BVAS will be created. If it can be created, I don't have a problem with its creation, but how will it feed itself into INEC system? Then it therefore means that we must interrogate INEC if INEC made those statements. I haven't read it anywhere. I don't want to say that they didn't say it. I'm just trying to let people know that the possibility is small. Yes, people can create PVC. Yes, you can go to Oluwole of this world and create PVC, but it wouldn't have the chip. We know the way things are working now. We've seen elections in FCT where we had challenge with the beavers. We've seen elections in Ekiti where there was an improvement. We saw election in Osun where there was a greater improvement. If the beavers is compromised, it means that there's a connivance within the INEC system. And I repeat, there is a connivance within the INEC system. If you create the beavers, somebody must bring it into the system and then link it up with INEC server. Otherwise, it cannot happen. We are all tech savvy here. We are not just saying, I mean, if your link is not connected, now I'm on Zoom. I have access to your Zoom. No other person is on this Zoom because you send it to me directly.
Yes.
And we're able to talk. This is tech. You can't tell me that somebody created another Zoom link and suddenly have access to TVC 360 and is suddenly having a conversation here. It's not possible. We need to further do that interrogation, and we need to question. If INEC chairman made that comment, I'm going to take him up on it. Maybe one will see. I'm going to take him up on it. That is it true that he said it? Because again, we must reassure. I talked about the possibility of hacking the system. The system is not necessarily beavers. The system is the website, as it were, that anybody can bring it down. Anybody. It was taken down at some point in 2019 election. INEC website was down for a period of time, and like the chairman said, there were attempts made, and they could see where they were coming from Asia and elsewhere. But we didn't think that I needed to make those comments. But maybe to reassure Nigerians that their firewalls are okay, their backup system, they are very fantastic. Maybe that's why it went public to say it. But sincerely, I fear the possibility of hacking INEC website that citizens, the only transparent board for citizens to monitor INEC credibility and monitor the integrity of our electoral process in the INEC result viewing portal. And if citizens don't have access to that portal, then it becomes more challenging. And that's what politicians want to do. Politicians are afraid of beavers. Let me repeat. They know that you don't need to wait until INEC declare result for citizens to, on their own, collect this result. Only wait for INEC to declare, because it is legal, it is constitutional that INEC must declare the result. But citizens can have an idea by collating each of the result sheets uploaded online and having an idea of who wins an election.
That's true. No doubt at all. And I think that's where we just have to leave it. Tomorrow, Yagbe, development and election analyst. Thank you very much for joining us on the program as always. Thank you so much for your time.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's how much we have on the program this week. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.